Greetings all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is March 26th, 2023. Legends describe the destruction of the civilization of Atlantis being the result of the abuse of psychic powers. It is said that energy and even life forms themselves were willfully twisted into perverse and unnatural expressions which went against the grain of nature and threatened the order of creation. The current global environmental crisis echoes the mythological downfall of Atlantis. We have abused the natural world to the point where the viability of civilization itself is in peril. Such mindless and petulant vandalism we associate with bored, frustrated, and resentful adolescents. Humans are innately and insatiably curious, and we can be brilliantly creative, yet we are still critically afflicted by the same flaw of hubris. We haven't yet learned to respect boundaries even when we know exceeding them will pose existential and ruinous risks. Arrogance is clearly our Achilles heel. As the veils continue to thin here on Earth, more and more people are experiencing psychic phenomenon and are expressing psychic abilities. There are some aspects of this expression, however, that disturb me. I have expressed this before here on my channel. That was a long time ago, however, and most people do not seem to be drawn to older content. This platform and the mercurial human attention span favors what is immediate and new. This tendency is also unfortunate and potentially dangerous, in my opinion, but that is another rabbit hole I will refrain from exploring for now. As an astrologer, I view the natal chart as being sacred. The soul chose the location and timing of the life with great care, precision, and intention. The astrology sets the stage so the native will have very specific and meaningful experiences that will further their particular evolutionary journey. The setting is multidimensional and incredibly complex, as others will play critical roles in this story throughout the lifespan of the native. It is far beyond human capabilities to construct anything remotely this complex. There are billions of human beings involved in this drama, and all are constantly in motion. It is breathtakingly and profoundly deep and requires a level of intelligence we cannot begin to even comprehend with our minuscule intellectual capabilities. I am just barely smart enough to acknowledge and respect this. Thus, I have reverence for natal charts. I will not do readings without explicit informed consent. You may have noticed that I do not do astrology readings on celebrities or political figures. In fact, I once refused to do a reading for an infant when the soul came to me and asked me not to do it, as it would alter the course of their incarnation. Presumably, what I would have said to the family would have changed their interactions with the child. Clearly, there are some things we are better off not knowing. Life is a journey, after all, and if we knew everything that might unfold, the exercise would be rather pointless. Think of the excitement and anticipation we feel at the early stages of falling in love, for example. We hope it will unfold as we desire, but we do not know for sure that it will, or if it does, how. No drug will ever replicate the depth and intensity of that experience. Such events can forever alter our lives. So yes, we should have reverence and respect for the divine wisdom inherent in the order of the universe, whether in the lives of individuals or the fate of our world. And this brings me back to the question of the use of psychic powers. I ask you to please contemplate the following hypothetical scenario for a moment. How would you feel if a total stranger did a psychic or intuitive reading of you without your consent and published it on a platform like YouTube? It might reveal your fears and failings, secrets you would prefer to remain private, your weaknesses, your flaws and vulnerabilities, peculiar habits or proclivities, lies you may have told, whether you will succeed or fail, and so on. The viewers of this uninvited and undesired expose would then judge you and maybe even condemn you for all of your flaws. Everyone knows that's exactly what human beings tend to do. If we are being honest, that sounds like it would be an absolutely horrible and degrading experience, doesn't it? At the very least, it would be an invasion of privacy. At the worst, it would be an affront and breach of our free will. Free will is a spiritual law, one I personally endeavor to respect. Breaching spiritual law has karmic consequences for good reason. Without the law of karma, we would have complete anarchy and mayhem. You may be thinking that high-profile figures have abdicated their right to privacy by virtue of their stature. You would be wrong. Journalists have strict protocols and engage in deliberation, even consulting lawyers at times, regarding the privacy of people they are reporting on. They always weigh the public's right to know and the potential benefit to the public versus an individual's right to privacy. Not all reporters abide by this in the same way, but the ones of honorable character most certainly take it seriously. Those would be the people we would respect and admire. You may also be thinking that humanity has the right to know what nefarious acts are being committed that will affect us in ways that are harmful. We are all justifiably worried and curious about how things will play out. Here I tend to be in agreement more. In cases where the public trust is being broken or abused, or crimes against humanity are being committed, I am far less sympathetic to the subjects of scrutiny. However, we have highly developed legal systems, although imperfect, that have evolved over centuries to bring justice in a dispassionate and orderly manner. There are complex protocols that at least attempt to prevent injustice against those who are wrongly accused. I am not aware of any psychic or intuitive reader that has an absolutely flawless track record, and I defy anyone to provide credible contrary evidence. It is my understanding that bearing false witness is a grave breach of spiritual law, so I would not discount this point lightly. As I have also directly stated here before, just because someone is psychic does not mean they are spiritually evolved. Some people have highly advanced intellects. Others have enhanced physical strength. Some have innate psychic abilities. None of these talents are indicators of spiritual evolution, and all can be abused. I have personally met with many people with powerful psychic gifts who I would not necessarily describe as enlightened based on their actions and attitudes. Furthermore, just because a being is disincarnate, it most certainly does not mean they are highly evolved. They may be no more evolved than your neighbor. I have personally encountered many disincarnate beings that were downright nasty, in fact. The dark side is by no means stupid, and many human beings are naive and gullible. Just look at the hundreds of millions of people that subscribe to objectifiably and demonstrably absurd beliefs. Finally, what is to prevent bad actors, rogue states, or malign organizations from turning such powers against perceived enemies or other states or even the populace? In truth, nothing. Could that spiral into psychic warfare or mass surveillance? Potentially. Should your employer have the right to psychically screen you for your attitudes, illnesses, addictions, level of intelligence, reliability, bad habits, political preferences, religious preferences, sexual preferences, and so on? Artificial intelligence would pale in comparison in terms of the threats to our privacy, well-being, and security, not to mention justice. There is no theoretical limit to how invasive psychic powers can be. Discernment, discrimination, and discipline are of paramount importance and must be developed, maintained, and relentlessly deployed. Unfortunately, there is a tendency for people in spiritual circles to park their brains, thus critical thinking is sadly often in short supply. We must always be examining our attitudes and ethics. Being entertained is one thing, but we do not want to repeat the experience of the legend of Atlantis. We must adhere to the highest standards possible and take the high road when there is any doubt whatsoever. That is the right thing to do, to be firmly committed to the path of higher intentions and nothing less. The path of higher intentions is paved with compassion. Self-mastery is being in a state of absolute, unflinching, and uncompromising integrity. The golden rule, as the Christ said, is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Thanks for all your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. I will put links in the description to related episodes. I will also include a link where you can request an astrology reading from me that supports this channel. I always give thanks and gratitude for those who support me, for my listeners and followers, who I have a tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for. All the best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.